Hey guys, what's going on? We're back with season 3 on the Enhancement Shaman playing Totemic. We got no tier, we got all green gear, well, aside from the crafted pieces, and we're doing 3v3. I haven't touched Solo Shuffle as enhancement yet, but I wanted to do some testing in threes, and Shook and Plum both were able to get on, so it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. We had an absolute blast, and Enhance is actually feeling pretty good right now without any sets or anything. Nobody else is too overpowered. We actually feel competitive. And you can see here, we completely just annihilate these poor guys. So we just caught them by surprise, and it is what it is. And you'll see Shook and Plum switch characters a lot because they were trying to get their crafted tokens or whatever. So yeah, but anyways, it's been fun. It really has. So next week I'll start the solo shuffle and see how that goes. And first, if you did notice that the conquest vendor didn't have the PvP tier upgrades, they are back now. I was really worried about that when I was recording this. They weren't active, but then they came up a few hours later. So if you are a PvEer and a PvPer, don't worry, the items are back. Let's get into this. So here we're fighting a Unholy DK and a Devoker. Our main target is going to be the Devoker. Reason being is we want to shut down any CC or anything he puts onto Shook or anything like that. And if we're on top of him, we're also cleaving the Death Knight as well. So it just makes it a lot better for us. So we put a lot of pressure on the healer, and we put a lot of pressure on them, right? So we get a lot more out of it than just sitting there letting the Devoker free cast. And then here we have the Arms Warrior and Ret Paladin combo, and you'll see a lot that I am actually running Counter-Strike in a lot of these. For whatever reason, people were not interested in killing it all that much, so it worked out in my favor. But you'll see a lot of them focus me down as much as possible. This Ret Paladin seems very aggressive against Shook, going in for that blind, and I see that, so I pop a Stone Bulwark because I thought I had already used Astral Shift, but I didn't. And then I see the Priest being very, very passive, right? He's over at this pillar, and then these two decide to push up, so I was like, okay, let's throw you into an even worse position. So we go ahead and do that, and we quickly swap onto this Paladin while he's downstairs, put a whole bunch of pressure on him, scare his priest half to death, and we get a lot of defensives right there. So now I got Counter-Strike down, and they're far away from it, taking them out, they're doing damage, not even realizing that the Counter-Strike's there. We get Bubble, we get Bop, we get a whole lot more defensives. Plum went off to pressure the healer, so that way he doesn't get too much. There's the ultimate penitence. Great. That's all their cooldowns. Get a stun on the pally, and now we're ready to bring somebody down. So they try CCing Shook. I do a combo, but I get disarm. Go ahead and trinket it. It was very late, but is what it is. And we start putting pressure back onto the warrior because the warrior can just intervene the Ret Pally. So we want to make sure he's low. And then when he gets a defensive, we want to start pressuring the Pally and vice versa. And we just bring down the Pally. We just doing. Now we're not doing nearly as much damage based on the meters, but I felt like we put a lot of pressure on them the whole time, putting them into bad places and forcing their defensives all day long. Like, the faster you get their defensives, the faster you can usually bring them down. So yeah, but Enhance has been fun, and it's been exciting. And here we are, we're Dev Enhance now with a Resto Druid. So here we're going to go in full on the Paladin. You can see Plum lining up the Deep Breath. We do a full combo onto this Ret Pally, and we bring him down with a big old Ellie Blast, and he barely comes off of his mount. So it is kind of interesting. I know it's the very start of the season, so we're fighting players of all different skill levels. So it's to be expected. Every once in a while, you'll get a match like these, and people are still learning the game, or just aren't all that great at it. That's okay. That's okay. That's what the start of the season's all about. Is just a whole chaotic mess. It does suck for some players that are not as good at the game, but eventually it will even out, hopefully. And now we're on to Death Knight and Ret Pally. So this one was interesting. So we're gonna be mainly focused on the Ret but at the same time, like either one of them can go down, right? It's never good to really beeline for one target. You want to always pressure two because you can get more defensives that way. As you can see, we just got lay on hands. We put a whole lot of pressure on the paladin, and then we got, I think that may have been actually swapped then bubble, because he couldn't have lay on hands then bubbled. I'm not sure, but we got a whole bunch of stuff there. So we got a whole lot of pressure onto the paladin. You can see Plum, he's flying away, trying to get away, put them in a bad spot. And I'm just pressuring them, sitting on top of them. I'm not too worried. I'm not really taking a whole lot of damage, so we're going to go in. We got a Primordial Wave, so we go ahead and Primordial Storm. We don't really get a whole lot out of it, but that means we have 20 seconds until our full combo, which is good. So I go ahead and push them back. We're trying to stall a little bit, try and get them into a bad spot. You can see their Holy Priest is stuck because he's in angel form. We get the DK into a really, really bad spot here, and we start pressuring him a whole lot. You can see the damage, and we get a Cyclone off on the Priest, and the DK just ends up falling over. So it's another thing is you always got to try and push them into bad spots or move around erratically, especially when the healer is like a Holy Priest and they're stuck in one spot during their angel form. You can run LOS and the DPS shouldn't follow, but sometimes they will, and it is what it is. So this one here, we are fighting a Fire Mage and a Shadow Priest, and we want to go after the Fire Mage. And the reason behind that is because if left alone, Fire Mages are a bit more disruptive and a bit more painful. They have a spammable CCs like Polymorph, whereas Shadow Priests do not. Now Shadow Priests will do a whole lot of damage, yes, but I think avoiding the CC and stuff is a bit more important. And you can see here we get a whole lot of combo. There's Lay on Hands, there's Cauterize, there's Ice Block. We just got the whole shebang right there, right? So we quickly switch over to the Shadow Priest, get a little bit of damage, stop him from going for any polymorphs. He gets Cyclone, but that's fine. I line up a polymorph onto the Pally, and we start pressuring the Mage once again. He uses Invis. There's another cooldown gone. So here they start bursting me, so I go ahead and wall, so that way I'm not taking like such significant damage. There's a Psyfiend up, quickly jump over to it because that's very important to watch for, because it reduces your healing received by 50%. So you always want to make sure that's going down as fast as possible. And if you're wondering about my UI, I will be doing a video on it hopefully this weekend, as well as any add-ons I use. I really don't use all that many add-ons, as you can see, compared to some big names. But, you know, mine's very basic, and I've recently got this Plater profile from a guildmate. It's been awesome. So, but yeah, I'll go over that in another video. But anyways, you can see here he gets spell bopped. So Plum goes ahead and grabs me and drags me around a corner, so that way I can get away. Being an enhanced shaman, you don't have that much mobility, so it was very good of him to move me, so that way I could get away and be safe. So here I drag the mage out into the middle, so that way I don't have to go too much, and he has to use a mobility skill to get away. So that means I have a chance to get him. Shook calls out for a fear here, but I was very late at it, and I think I got the tremor in time, but it was still quite late. But I wasn't quite in danger, so here I use grounding early, and then he goes ahead and decides to combust, so I go ahead and lasso him. This stops his damage. He can't do anything. He doesn't have trinket, he doesn't have anything, so he can't get out of it. So that's, in a way, a defensive for me, is stopping his damage. Here, I got really lucky. He blast waved me away, and I got caught by the pillar, and we're able to just bring him down through the damage. So it was quite nice. I don't know how I got caught by the pillar. Usually I get pushed and slide across it and fly away. But that time I got very lucky, and the pillar caught me. It was quite nice of the pillar, I have to say. High five to that pillar, to be honest. So, but yeah, here we just quickly clean him up. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting match, and I think we both agreed that going for the Fire Mage was definitely the right choice. Shadow Priest doesn't seem nearly as powerful, and they also have a significantly more defense-oriented defense. I don't even know what I was trying to say, but they have a lot more defensives, in my opinion. So here, our original plan was to actually go after the Destro lock because they're very dangerous, right? And you can shut them down a lot easier with interrupting Chaos Bolts and stuff like that. Whereas in MM Hunter, you cannot interrupt aim shot. So that was our thought process. So here he ports away, and we're like, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to hit this Hunter real quick because I can't touch the Warlock right now. But Warlock comes out, so I go ahead and hit him. Okay, great. So if the Warlock ports out, we're gonna quickly swap to the Hunter. Now I get a Hex off on the Shaman, perfect, but I missed the Fear, so I go ahead and Trinket it. It's kind of a waste, but it is what it is. So we're starting to line up a little bit of damage. I'm starting to use Purge a bit more, trying to get any defensives off of him, like Earth Shield or Riptide. And here he ports, and the Hunter's in a really bad spot. So I knock him. Plum follows up with a great deep breath. We get him very, very low. He turtles. He's scared. And we get a lot. That's a lot of defensives. That's Ascendance and that's Turtle. Perfect. That's the way we want to go. So now we're back on the Warlock. We want to shut down his damage. We don't want him casting too much. Shook is in a CC, but they don't really have any crazy damage going out. I get feared, but nothing I can do. They're not even pressuring us, so that's great. And I see the Hunter still kind of putting himself in awkward positions. So I'm like, let's capitalize on this, right? So I set up a full combo, big damage right there. You can see he's fallen over just a little bit. I'm looking for an interrupt, but nothing quite yet. I see the Shaman open, so I go for the Hex. And then Shook's going to try and follow up with a Cyclone if he can, but he can't. So we're just going to continue pressuring with the Hunter because he doesn't have anything, right? The original thing was Turtle, but now he doesn't have that, so he's pretty free target. And the Warlock isn't able to quite get his damage out because he's just getting cloned and CC'd all the time. So you can see here the Shaman's just funneling healing surges into him, trying to get him topped up, but he can't. So they kind of stabilize. They get a stun, go for the Hex, get a full Hex on him. He ends up trinketing or dispelling. Oh no, he's still in the Hex. I just saw the debuff go away, but okay. So we're pressuring this Hunter as much as possible. I see the lasso. Go ahead and interrupt that. And now we're kind of just waiting. I got a full combo coming up. So let's get a CC off on this Shaman. He goes ahead and grounds my Hex, which is fine. And then he follows up with his own Hex onto me. So I'm like, okay, it's also DR'd. So nothing really to worry about. Get feared, not worried. I see the deep breath from Shook, or from Plum, and then we line up a nice combo onto this Hunter, and I knock him into Oblivion, and then I combo him with a Primordial Storm Doomwinds, and he falls over. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having fun in the start of the season as well, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Laters!